connected? Are we? Maybe? Almost always. Um, okay, yep, we're connected, ma'am. Hi, you guys! All right. Geez, it almost feels wrong to be lighthearted, but hello and welcome to everyone watching the Written in Melanin channel, wherever this day may have found you. We are glad that you are here. This is the Melanin Chat, the weekly meetup between myself, CM Lockhart, better known as Chelsea, and the lovely LaKase Cousino, who is known as LaKase Cousino. I don't know why I added her middle name in there, just throwing her government name out there like that, I guess. And as always, you guys, we are here to bring some melanin to your pages. And as you guys can probably tell from the thumbnail, we are here to talk about Black Lives Matter because they do. That's like the whole sentence, Black Lives Matter. So yeah, there's a lot going on in the world, and we just kind of feel like we need to talk about it. We need to address it, and we need to talk about what it means to be Black and creative in this environment. Yeah? So, shout out to Shay. Hey, Shay, how you doing? Good to see you. Hey. Hi, Mama Perry. How you doing? I'm just going to guess that Miss Tracy's out there. Hi, Miss Tracy. Yeah. Yeah. It is. Yeah. Um, can't hear LaKase at all? Okay. Technical difficulties. Give us a second. Can you guys hear her now? Because she's like talking directly into her mic, and I can hear her super loud. Just give us a second. Nope, still can't hear you. Okay.
Problem before.
Try it now.
Hello?
Can you guys hear her now?
Hello, hello, hello.
Okay. Nothing at all.
I could come back. I could leave and come back in. I'm going to try that.
Sure. Sorry, you guys. Not sure what's happening here. Okay. Cool.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes! Okay. The consensus is that you are heard.
So... Oh, finally, that's all I've ever wanted in this life. I'm not lying. My mom can attest to it. I just want to be heard.
I think it was on my part. I toggled some settings, so sorry, you guys.
So you guys can't hear me?
Yep, that's what it looks like.
Hey, I don't know if you heard any of what I just said, but I'll quickly like reiterate. This is right now we're seeing a global moment. There are people, I mentioned New Zealand, I mentioned Berlin, I mentioned like murals in like Palestinians in Greece, like all over the world, London. People are coming together, speaking truth to power about the nature of police brutality, the murder of Black folks, um, you know, the disproportionate rate at which Black people are imprisoned, and it's been like I was saying. Well, you guys can hear me, but this is not something that just happened with George Floyd. That was a jumping off point because it's cannot turn away from it. You can't turn away from it anymore. It's clear as day. But this is something like actually before we were talking, Chelsea, we were talking about Reconstruction, slavery, Jim Crow. Ida B. Wells was an anti-lynching crusader at the turn of the century. This has been going on for generations. So this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like when we finally are saying enough is enough. Not finally. We've been saying enough is enough for a while, but it's like everybody else is seeing the world through our eyes now. And you can't look away from it.
And that's what I was saying earlier. If you follow the Written in Melanin account on Twitter, it's just that, for me personally, I can't speak for anybody else. For me personally, it's just like I want to talk about it. But it's just like I've been angry for so long because this isn't a new thing. It's just this is the first time in a really long time that it's in a public forum and everybody is talking about it. And this has happened in the past where it's like there's this public outrage, and there's been times in the past where there have been riots, but it's never been this ongoing, like in your face type. We're not going to look away from it. We're not going to put this torch down. We're not going to stop until something changes, until something is done. And I feel like that is the true difference between this moment and moments in the past, because this is not the first time that like Black people have stood up and said, hey, stop killing us. Hey, this is not okay. Mm-hmm. Bring awareness to this. Like, this is just the first time that it's been all these moments have lined up concurrently across the globe. Because like you said, it's not just the United States. It's in the UK. It's in, all parts of the world. And it's necessary. And it's like, it makes you angry because it has to be necessary, but also it's just like you have to, I don't know, part of me is just like, I'm glad we're finally bringing it to the light. We're finally talking about it. We can finally discuss it. We can finally bring it to the light. We can finally call people out the way that they have been needing to be called out. But at the same time, it's just like, damn, we really needed to have this conversation. We have to explain to you why our lives matter. And we have to like explain to you why we don't deserve to be killed for absolutely no reason in the streets. And there are really people out here who like, oh, you really don't have a point. And that's the part that's like infuriating, Or
they'll throw like Dr. King quotes at you. They always stop quoting Dr. King at like 1963. They never like keep reading. But he said riots are the language of the oppressed. Like that's what happens when people aren't heard. We tried. I actually want to back up and say and acknowledge the young people who are out in the street. I'm so proud of them. And it's not just young Black kids. It's all colors, all ethnicities, all orientations, all abilities. I've seen disabled people taken to the streets. And you're at higher risk. And somebody tweeted, and I really agree. I think these kids have grown up seeing Trayvon Martin's murderer get off.
Right.
They saw nothing happen. They saw what happened in Ferguson. They were children. They've been seeing it, in a way that I don't think really saw because we didn't have social media.
Right.
Like they're seeing reality, and they're not able to explain it away. So I mean that's a huge change as well. Like we've just got a lot of young people. And yes, Naked Firefly, they do. They keep forgetting Dr. King later in life and how his views started. Yeah.
Right? Because
it's not comfortable. It's easy when you have some like a sterile image of somebody who's in a suit and very, getting beaten and placid. They don't want to talk about the way that we learned that's not working.
Yeah. And people don't like to realize that there's always so much more to the picture than the one color you're trying to use to paint it. And it's just like everybody gets tired, and that's the thing that people have been saying for generations. Everybody has a breaking point. Everybody gets tired, and it doesn't matter how nice and patient and understanding you can be. everybody's going to get to a point where they're like, okay, clearly talking to you is not enough, you know? But also, it's just like, again, like riots are not new things. Like they've been happening forever.
Yeah.
So many,
Exactly.
so many thoughts.
Yeah.
So many
Well,
just.
what was the Boston Tea Party? Was that a peaceful protest?
Right.
What was, you know, when we tried to have peaceful protests, like, you know, Bloody Sunday started off with a very placid or peaceful walk to chaos because they were attacking what we're seeing now.
And can we be mindful and just be real that in the riots and things that we're seeing, it is not the protesters and the black folk who are starting these things. They're not even finishing it. They're just like, hey, we're trying to mind our business. We're trying to, sorry, you guys. We're trying to just live our life. We're just trying to make a statement, and it's the police and it's the non-people of color who are coming out and causing the problems and starting the riots and doing the looting. And they're, like I said, if you guys are on Twitter, y'all know how I'm not gonna say toxic Twitter is, but you get a lot of unfiltered information from Twitter, and you get the whole picture. So if you're just watching the news, they will tell you one side of the story, but there's so many different perspectives on it. So when you get the whole thing, that's why I think in this day and age, like you said, these kids are growing up with social media. So it's like where we had the news on TV, it's like, yeah, we saw it, but we saw the parts that they wanted us to see. Whereas with the kids who are growing up now in this generation, they not only do they use social media, they know how to use it. They know how to videotape. They know how to disseminate the information and how to pick out the truth from the fact. And that's changing how they react to it, because it's one thing to be told, like the thing that comes to mind is the video. I don't know if you guys have seen it. There's a video of, you know, this white woman in a wheelchair being beaten up in front of a Target, right?
Yeah.
If you saw it on the news, it's the story that they're painting is that there was no reason for it. If you go on social media, on Instagram, on Twitter, on literally any other outlet other than a official news source, it tells you the whole story, that she had a knife and she was stabbing people, and these were peaceful people, right? Because she just didn't want them there, and that's why they took action against her.
Exactly.
Because she was harming, bodily harming people.
Exactly. The same thing happened in Texas where that guy came up. Girl.
So many
really
instances.
Quick. So many where like, oh, they're the victim, but then they find out like they had a weapon. Welcome. Hi, Evie. Thank you for joining us. We're all so tired.
Tired.
Charlotte, aka my mom, she calls Mark Zuckerberg Soccerberg, which I love. She said he couldn't understand. That's right. He met with some civil rights activists, and they're like, he doesn't understand, and it's like he doesn't understand like racial dynamics. And
I wouldn't say wouldn't. I would say it's a choice to not care. Like, you don't care, so you choose not to understand. Because there's really not anything to understand about it. If you understand fairness and the basic principle of what it is, you understand what, you know, racial discrimination is. It's not a thing of I can't compute. It's a thing of I don't care to make it make sense to me because it's in my favor.
Exactly. Yeah. And I just wanted to say, really quick before I forget, there are a lot of, not everybody can take to the streets. Not everybody can protest. It's not safe for everybody to protest. We are still in the middle of a global.
Yeah.
So there are options. If anybody watching now and in the future wants resources, definitely I can provide them. You can comment here, or if you want to follow me on social media, I'm constantly retweeting. I'm not promoting myself. I'm really not. That's just kind of the easiest way to communicate. Or just email me. I've been following people who are constantly retweeting funds, places that need donations, bail funds. The Minnesota Freedom Fund is actually they're like at their cap for donations, so they have listed a bunch of resources. The Minnesota Freedom Fund, I think on their website they have places where you can go and donate elsewhere that need. So you don't have to take to the streets. We all have a lane, and uplift voices, you know, and make a donation. If you can't make a donation, there are lots of alternatives. So just comment or let us know if you want those things. Sorry, go ahead, Chelsea.
No, just piggybacking off of that, to follow up with that, if you guys look in the description box of this video, there are links. One of the ones that LaKase put out this morning about the bail funds, there's a link to that if you want to support, and it does it by state. So, like, if you want to support in your state, you can definitely do that.
Sorry. Sorry.
And there's
Thank
a
you,
link
Chelsea.
down there as well to a Google Doc that is basically like a landing page that someone put together of all the different petitions and things. So even if you can't donate, I know that there's one petition in particular where they're trying to make it mandatory. There's a lawyer who's trying to take it to, I want to say Congress, a petition saying that if a police officer is found to have shot an unarmed man, then that's a minimum 15-year prison sentence. And all you have to do is sign that. I think they're trying to get to like 1 million signatures, and they're almost there. They've got
fabulous. Okay.
I think they're like about 5,000 signatures away. I can't do math. Don't take my word at that. But there are a lot of numbers up there. They were close. It was like less.
They're getting close.
They're close.
Also, international. I know we have some international. Naked Firefly, my girl, is international. We have people who aren't in the States. You can still make donations.
Yeah.
You can still take part. And also, I know this is a very serious conversation we're having, but we do want it to be a conversation. If you have anything that you want to share, any questions, if you have anything to talk about, we're here. The comments are open. We definitely want to be able to talk, because going through this on your own, this is a traumatic experience. I think we should acknowledge that. This is a very traumatic experience, seeing this played out, seeing what's going on. You know, I didn't want to see the image of George Floyd. I saw it and I cried, obviously, but I think I needed to see it to an extent, so it can really hit home for me. Because I think it's easy to say, like, oh, you know, another one. You know, we keep hearing about it, you sympathize, but seeing it changed it. So I say that to say it's okay to feel a lot of things. Right? So you know what I mean?
It's okay to feel a lot of things, and it's okay to be tired.
Okay.
I'm going to put this out there because Evie said it first. Like, I'm tired. Yeah. You're tired. We're tired. We are all tired. This is an exhausting environment to be in. And if you need to take a break, I say this sincerely, if you need to take a break from social media, if you need to take a break from other people, if you need to take a break from, I don't want to say caring, but take a break from actively being involved in the environment where you're seeing all of this and having to make mental space for it, because once you know, and you can't unknow anymore, then like take that time for yourself. Like, don't go until you break. That's all I'm gonna say.
Everybody needs a break so that you don't hit like you're saying.
Yeah. And that kind of leads us into our topic of, you know, obviously I'm Black, she's Black. A lot of us in the chat are Black, and we're creators, and that comes with a different set of hurdles that you have to deal with, especially in a time like this. So for those of you watching now or in the future, this is going to be an entirely candid talk. I feel like most of the time we try to be very, I don't want to say kind, because we're just generally nice people, but we kind of tiptoe around the issue and the reality of it sometimes. And I just say that to say that this is not the day that we're going to do that. So if you're not ready for it, then there you go. So let's just, I guess, start from the beginning, like the conversation that you and I have a lot of times off screen. When it comes to being Black and a creative, especially, we're going to focus on being a writer, right? Because that's what we are. You have different hurdles to jump through, especially when it comes to just the basics of like publishing and getting your work seen. One of the things that LaKase and I talk about all the time is how this environment of Black Lives Matter and supporting Black creatives, especially on Twitter and Instagram, has brought to light the fact that a lot of people don't know where to support Black writers, because the books that they see are normally the popular ones: The Hate You Give, Dear Martin, Children of Blood and Bone, and books like that. Oh, also shout out to Bethany Moore. If you guys don't know her, she was on the channel
Yeah.
earlier. Today's actually her book birthday, you guys. Her
Her book release day. Yeah.
just released today. So, A Song Below Water. If you're not sure about it, we did 2 videos on it. We interviewed Bethany and we did a book discussion on it. And later this week, we'll have a spoiler talk with her available as well. But if you like to support Black authors, that is definitely one person that you can support. But I say all that to say that Black creatives more often than not have to find their own way of making their work available to the public, because traditional publishing is not a door that's wide enough to accommodate all of the writers of color who want to walk through it, generally speaking. And that's just the reality of it. You know, not saying that it's right, fair, or opinions on it left or right. That's just being honest. That's being real. Like, let's say that LaKase and I both want to go traditional publishing. More likely than not, only one of us is actually going to get a book deal. And that's just how it works.
And, you know, some people could say, well, isn't that true for white authors? Yes, but, I mean, I don't even want to, I mean, the analogy of like, well, between the two of us, maybe only one of us, or maybe neither of us get that. But that erases the fact that you're more likely as a white author to get an opportunity that would otherwise be denied to a Black author. We really and truly do have to jump through more hoops. We've talked about it with other authors who are traditionally published, who have come on the show. Their frustrations and their exhaustion with going through multiple hoops that they see their peers are not being forced to perform. So I just want to acknowledge like that. You know, this is the reality. And I mean, we're not just making this up. We're hearing it from traditionally published authors.
Yeah.
You know, we see it every day. We see it every day in multiple fields, that it's just harder.
And the other thing is, it's not just hearing it from Black authors, it's also the reality of, if I were to ask you or anybody in the chat right now to name 5 Black authors with published works who are not traditionally published, how many of us could actually really do it? And assuming that one of those books is actually one of our own, you know, that's just 4 other people who are Black authors who have published their works who are not traditionally published. And when you pit it like that, especially for me, and I can't speak for anybody else, right? But like on my feed, when I'm talking to other book reviewers and I'm like, hey, do you have any recommendations? And they're just kind of like the same books over and over again. Not saying that those are bad books, not taking away from any of that. But how do I put this? It's like, if I've got 5 fingers, you guys, and only one of them is useful, then what happens to the other 4? You know? That's kind of how it is. That's the best analogy I can come up with off the top of my head when I'm so tired and exhausted. But like the other people who aren't getting the same type of traffic, because even Christina Forrest, El Penelope, the authors that we have on our channel, like, we love them and they have amazing books. But with the exception of Bethany, who is traditionally published, and I know she's getting a lot of promotion recently, a lot of those authors don't get a lot of screen time. And personally, I just don't think that's right. But that just kind of shows how even the smallest parts sometimes play. It's another hoop to jump through. Let me just say it like that. It's always another hoop to jump through. Like, you write your book, great. You decide to publish your book, great. Even sometimes with, like I said, Christina and El Penelope, you get signed, great. Now who sees your book? How many of you would have known about them? I wouldn't have known about them had we not actively searched for them.
Gone out looking. And you have to take an active stance to even find them.
Right.
That's the thing. I think people don't understand that. You can't be passive as a Black person. Like, I mean, to get yourself out there in the publishing world, unfortunately.
Yeah. I don't know. There's so many feelings that I have about this, especially as it comes to the publishing world, especially as it comes to things that I've been seeing lately. Because like I said, on Twitter, there's so many people who are like, ooh, follow this thread and let me show you these Black books by Black authors that are not just, you know, like I said, the ones that are always in front of your face. And the fact that we wouldn't have known about them, or even the fact that most people wouldn't have cared. Because the thing is, a lot of these threads have been around forever. Like they've been up for years and people have just been adding to them and nobody cared until now, when now it's like this trend of let's support Black authors, let's support Black creatives, you know. But like what happens in what happens in 2 weeks when the riots are no longer happening and things start to go back to normal, right? If that can even happen.
I hope they don't.
At this point.
I hope they don't, you know? Girl.
I hope they don't, but like if that,
but
that's what happened in the past, you know, when Trayvon Martin and with literally everyone else who was a hashtag, and there was, you know, an uprising of like, you can't do this to us. It always, the dust settles at some point. It always does. So then what happens? Do we go back to being obscure, you know, on the outskirts of the social media world, or where nobody knows about the things that we're writing, nobody knows about the things that we're doing? Or are people who were informed about what's going on, are they going to continue to remain informed? Are they going to continue to support? Are they going to continue to be allies? Because it means more, being an ally means more than just being ready to fight in times of war. Like, you've got to be there for the day-to-day, for the peaceful stuff as well. But I'm not going to rant. Yeah. I'm not. I just, like I said,
girl, it's a lot to talk about. And I was just trying to jump into the chat room. Shay has commented Sunday was hard for her. Sunday's hard. Charlotte was saying that it's hard being a medical professional, trying to stay neutral. And Shay also says that Trayvon Martin was a catalyst for her as well. That was huge for me as well. I was alive when the Rodney King beating happened. I remember that. Like, I was a child, you know, but I remember the news reports and hearing my parents talking about it. But Trayvon Martin was something totally different. Like, that was just another level.
I think for me, Trayvon Martin stuck with me, only because I was like still like teenager. I want to say I was like 18 when that happened. Like, I was pretty much straight out of high school, still in the early days of college. And I just remember, not reading about it, but seeing it on social media, seeing it on the news, hearing my parents talk about it. And the thing that always stuck with me, and the thing that still sticks with me to this day, is the fact that it was never about, did he kill this unarmed Black boy on his way home for no reason at all? It was, did he have justification for it? It wasn't, did he do it? Because it's like, yeah, he did it, and we know that he did it, but did he have justification for it? And I'm like, how do you justify this? And that's when, as an adult, for me, it cemented the difference between, I don't want to say us and them, but literally us and them. That's how they are going to see us. It's not like, it's not like, did you do it? It's not a yes or no. Like, you killed someone, therefore there should be repercussions for that. It's, why did you do it? And is it justified? And it's just like, how do you justify killing someone? Because to be honest, if the situation were reversed and a Black man had killed a white child for no reason at all, for simply walking down the street, it wouldn't have been, why did you do it? It would have been, you did it, so now you've got life in prison. Done. Open and shut. There would have been no way to get around. There would have been it wouldn't have even been in the news, really, except for the fact that it happened and to drag that man through the mud. That would have been the only reason. So
I know. Absolutely.
And the fact that this keeps happening, and it keeps happening, like, these officers are not getting arrested. And it was, again, I spend a lot of time on Twitter, you guys. So if you hear me talking about it, like, sorry, that's just where I spend a lot of my time, especially recently. It's like,
source. It really is a great source of information. That's what I like about Twitter. I get things in real time. But sorry, go ahead, Chelsea.
Oh, no. Like I said, I can rant. It was just, I remember seeing a tweet, and celebrities are obviously vocalizing this too, but it was just like, these people would rather arrest, 2,000, 3,000 plus protesters than arrest 4 officers for killing a man. Protesters who are doing nothing. You'd rather arrest them, tear gas them, shoot rubber bullets at them, than to arrest the officers who are on video killing a man. But no one sees what the issue is. People want to pretend like like it's overreacting. The thing is, nobody is overreacting. You are underreacting to the situation. The fact that you are
They're
not upset.
yeah.
Ugh.
They're reacting with more rage at some shops getting burned down. We can rebuild a shop real quick.
Real quick. And let's be real here. We're
They're
not the
already
ones
cleaning
burning
up.
down your buildings.
Let's talk about that. That's a word. But we can rebuild them. George Floyd's gone. Tony McDade is gone. Ahmaud Arbery's gone. Breonna Taylor's gone. Sandra Bland's gone. Mike Brown's gone. Trayvon Martin's gone. Tatiana Jefferson is gone. I can keep going and going. A young boy was just killed in Nebraska. The first names I listed were people who were killed within a week of each other. These people are gone. And we're lamenting buildings that have insurance, rebuilt, and are being cleaned up.
That you destroyed yourself.
How are we fallen so far that we are lamenting stuff more than human life? That is what Black Lives Matter is. It's not Black lives are more important than other lives. It's not only Black Lives Matter. It's that we are not seen as alive. We're seen as obstacles. You know, we're people. That's what Black Lives Matter. That's why we are in the. I shouldn't say we. I have not been able to go out into the streets because I'm recovering from surgery. But you better believe now that my stitches are out. No, I'm just saying. You know, I've done what I can. But it has to. And we're angry. Rightfully so.
Rightfully
400 years. 400 years. And then some. I mean, money changed. I'm not saying things changed. I'm saying this has been going on for the struggle. It hasn't been us asking please, sir, and thank you, ma'am, to get rights. You know, my parents were children during the civil rights movement, still fighting this fight. So I would be more frustrated and worried if people weren't angry. So anyway, I'm going to start rambling. I'm about to get on my Malcolm X stuff. Let me go ahead.
It's just like
I'm just so heated. It's just a change.
And that's the thing. It's
Got
just
it.
like, for a lot of people, let me simplify this. I can't speak for anyone else except for myself, right? And I'm not going to pretend to be the voice of Black people everywhere, because let's be real here. That's part of the problem, is that one person is supposed to represent the entire culture, and that's not how this works. Okay? But for me, it's just like, when you grow up Black in America, you understand things fundamentally, and you are angry from the time that you realize that you are Black before you are a person. And you are angry for so long, so that when you get to points like this as an adult, it's just like, yeah, you're angry, you're outraged, but then you get to a point where it's just like, how and is this going to really change? And that's why so many of the things that are happening, it's just like, I want it to change, but I was like, I'm skeptical about what's going to actually happen, especially when the reaction to it in, let's just say, the White House, because we're not even going to get into all that happened with, you know, that yesterday. But the fact that the reaction is, let's crack down and force them to adhere to these rules and to this oppression, instead of maybe we should look at what's wrong with our country. But then you have these same people, when it happens overseas, they're going to be like, oh, no, you shouldn't do that. You should listen to the protesters. You should understand what they're trying to do. But when it's happening on your ground and you're in charge, it's a completely different narrative. It's a completely different story. And that's the type of thing that will, like, it makes you sick, and it makes you tired, and it makes you angry. And then it just, this cycle of negativity. And
absolutely. I mean, you might say, like, well, why? What does this have to do with publishing? Chelsea already acknowledged it earlier, but just to reiterate, this is not isolated. This is in every industry. And the point of Written in Melanin, the point of what Chelsea and I do on the Melanin Chat every week, except for last week, sorry, is to make sure that Black voices are being uplifted. We all have a voice. The problem is people not listening to us, listening to those other unique voices in this world. And a lot of us express ourselves through literature. But as we're seeing, we're not being given opportunities. This is why Chelsea started Written, so that other people can have opportunities. So I think it's important for all of us to acknowledge the injustices within our industry, because it's not isolated. It's not just offices.
Right.
You know, it's at these conferences we go to as writers, you know, where maybe you're the only Black person in the room, or there are no Black agents, you know, or they only want one kind of book from a Black person. But even if you're the only Black person in that room, you're not going to get welcomed in because they already have their one Black person, other agent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. You go ahead.
Like, I 100%, like, exactly what she said. Like, not only the reasons behind starting Written in Melanin, but also the reasoning behind doing the YouTube channel as a whole. Like, not only the Melanin Chat, but doing the book reviews and interviewing the authors and doing the spoiler talks. Because, like, as writers, there is nothing more fun than being able to talk to somebody else who has read your work about your writing and being able to express, this is what I wrote. This is why I wrote it. This is the story that I wanted to tell. These are the things that I liked about it. These are the things that I struggled with. And that's why we want to give authors that space to just be a writer. And it's just like, I don't know if this will make sense to anyone who is not Black, but to just be able to be a writer or be a person or be something else before you have to be Black first. Because in every other space that you enter into, you have to be a Black person. You're not just a person. You have to be a Black person, which comes with a different set of rules, a different set of expectations, and a different set of standards wherever you're at. And it's exhausting and it's tiring. And what is that book? Oh, it's by W.E. Du Bois. I can't remember. I read it in high school. But it talked about the duality of being Black and a man, because obviously he was a man, but also the reality of being Black and a person. You know?
Shit. It's not part of my language, because I'm trying to remember the name. I had to read it too. Actually, it was gifted to me by
I can't remember
my high school teacher.
But if you guys know which book I'm talking about, then drop it in the chat.
I'm gonna be in so much trouble for not remembering.
I remember it was by him, but I can't remember the name of it at this point.
Oh, girl, I'm so mad at myself. I went completely blank. I'll find it. Don't worry, I got you.
She's on the research trail, you guys.
How could I have forgotten?
But
maybe one of those moments later on. Souls of Black Folk.
Maybe. I don't think so. That doesn't sound right.
That's him. But I don't know if that's the actual.
I don't know. I can't remember the name. I have it though. Like, it's on my bookshelf somewhere. The description of the book. It's by W.E. Du Bois, and in the book he's talking about the duality of being Black and a man in America, and how those are two separate things, and that being a Black man, you have to be both those things and also like one of those things all the time.
Books. I read the Souls of Black Folk, the one I was gifted.
Look, she's got me looking it up too.
I don't think it was the talented. Darn it! Sorry, y'all. Don't drag us.
or
maybe drag us.
But
Shay, the description of the book, it discusses the duality of being Black and man by W.E. Du Bois. Souls of Black Folk. What's it?
Double
Doesn't help that he wrote 800 books. There we go.
Double
Thank you.
Is the name of the book.
Okay, good job, Chelsea. There we go. Double consciousness. I don't know why I'm holding.
Good job, Bing. That wasn't Google that time. That was Bing, you guys. Just throwing that out there.
Go ahead, Bing.
But
I'm gonna put the name of the book in the chat. Double Consciousness.
Double Consciousness by W.E. Du Bois. But that's what it's like. But also piggybacking off of what you were saying about being, going to these conferences and being the only Black person, the way all of this translate into publishing, because, obviously we're angry, and so we're kind of going around the topic here. But as it pertains to being a Black creator, it's when it comes to writing, because I'm not an artist. I can't even tell you what those hoops are like, okay?
Right. Absolutely.
But the fact that you have to also... Traditional publishers tend to want one certain type of book. And I'm going to reference The Hate U Give and Dear Martin and to an extent, A Song Below Water, only because those are amazing books and they're written by very talented authors, right? Not taking anything away from it. But it also is talking about police brutality and being racially, they have very strong racial tones in their book. And I don't want to call it trauma porn, but so in so many cases, that's what, as a Black author, when you go to a traditional publisher, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for you to write your trauma porn. And unfortunately. And so when you get books that are nice and fluffy and sweet, and the book that comes to mind is Christina Forrest, only because I really, really loved her book, and I recently did a review on it. It's just like, those books don't get as much traction because you have a Black girl who doesn't hate herself falling in love with a Black boy who also doesn't hate himself, and they are literally just having fun falling in love, and it's not about the color of their skin. That is not a determining factor of the story, right? Yeah. And so often those are the books that get overlooked, and I feel like
it doesn't sell.
That's one of the hoops that when you're talking about being a writer and being a Black writer, you have to consider, because if you want to be traditionally published, that's something you have to think about. Is that what you're going to write into your book? Are you going to make that a focal point? Yeah. Because that's going to determine who's appealed to your book. And
yeah, absolutely.
It's not fair that you have to think about that, because white authors don't have to think about, okay, am I going to make this book primarily about them being white? Because Black authors have to think, am I going to write my book about being Black? And
do you hear how insane that sounds? So you would have to consider something like that, because of course my book is Black inherently because I'm Black. That's part of my, even when I write historical fantasy, my Black experience is coming through. That's what I know.
Black.
I can't make it not Black. So like the idea that someone would be like black it up or black it down is preposterous. Are we going to run around here telling who's an example?
Sarah Dessen.
Oh, a white author. Sarah Dessen. Can you just like white it down? Can you maybe pull out that Nickelback song? You know, that right? Would be insane. Oh, really quickly. Also, Shay has recommended The Invisible Man. Ralph Waldo Ellison. Phenomenal. Another good recommendation if anybody wants to read it.
Absolutely.
Shay from her home state of Oklahoma. Oh, Shay, I'm from Kansas. Ooh, Midwest.
I'm in Texas, so like Oklahoma is really on a hop, jump, and a skip.
We got a little corridor. We got the Twister corridor.
Yeah. There we go.
Tornado Alley. But yeah, those are some great books. Those classics. Another great read. I'm sure, well, I shouldn't just assume, but Their Eyes Were Watching God is a phenomenal book that's just about being Black. The Zora Neale Hurston, phenomenal story.
Who was it? Right. The Other West Moore was one that really got me in high school.
Go ahead, Shay.
Okay. I love it. The Other West Moore. His book is actually coming out again in a more kid-friendly format. But basically,
oh, cool. Okay.
It's not really a memoir, but it's a story of him and this other boy who is also named West Moore. They both had similar lifestyles growing up, but one ended up with a life sentence in prison, and the other one went on to be, he went into the military, and then he retired from it, and he became really successful. He's the one who's writing the book, right? And he's reflecting on how their situations could have easily been flipped, and I guess it's just compounded by the fact that they grew up in around the same area, around the same time, with the same name, and pretty much the same lifestyle, and how it could have easily gone left for him had he not made the decisions. And I feel like that's really powerful, because it's just like, it really, like, anything could happen, and a lot of it is choice, but then it also shines a light on how unfair this country can be towards Black men, and how so often you're not allowed to make mistakes. You're not allowed to come back from making a bad decision, and why those decisions weigh so heavily on you, because as you can see, like, with all this going on, you don't even have to do anything. And
I was just going to say, you don't even have to make a mistake. You can be at home in your bed like Breonna Taylor or a Tatiana Jefferson.
Yeah.
Be minding your own business, playing video games with your nephew. You can be asleep. Be driving home.
You could
I
be
just saw a
walking
video
home
of a
from buying
couple
a bag of Skittles.
walking, buying candy to go. Like, you went to the store to get candy so you can hang out with your. I just watched a video of this couple in Atlanta ripped from their car. They're trying to go home. The car ahead of them, a young white woman hangs out and waves to the cameras because CNN's filming. They pull this black couple out of the car behind the young white girl, arrested them. The white girl got to go home, didn't even know what was happening behind her. Just like it just happened either yesterday or the day before. The couple just got released. They were arrested for being out past curfew.
Oh.
So make that make sense to me. You remember we saw, I think we talked about that.
Yeah, I saw it on Twitter where there was a young teenage girl. She got arrested because she was going to the store to buy tampons, you guys. And the officer...
I saw that too!
The officer told her that it is her fault for being out past curfew because she should have been prepared. It's her fault for not knowing that her cycle was going to start. And it's her fault for being out past curfew. They jailed her for 14 hours and they still have not returned her property. So like her phone and everything that they took when she got arrested, they still haven't returned it to her. And
girl,
it's just like, how does that make sense to you? How can you make that?
Do these bags, right? This is why. But I don't also want to say, sorry. I know this is like this is hard to talk about. But I always want to just like also acknowledge the people who are working to make these things change. And it's the people on the street. It's the people who are speaking up, a lot of them young people who are showing incredible backbone that I wish we could see at the higher reaches of our government, which is foregone conclusion. But I don't know. I feel like I hope that you guys are feeling pride for these people who are out there because it is a risk that they're willing to take so that the world knows that this isn't okay. You know, it's a hard thing to do to stand up with stuff. But I'm just like, I really do just feel a swell of pride because so much there and their kids defending each other. And if we have any people who are not black, any non-black people of color, white people watching, all we ask is that you be accomplices. Right. An accomplice I've seen videos like you get in between the police because they will not hurt you. I've seen it time and time again. Police will stop if you're white between the police and a black person. It's a hard truth to learn.
It's the reality.
But we need accomplices, not allies. Allies can stay home. Accomplices get in between. So that's what this is calling for. You know, your life has value. You don't have to say white lives matter because we know it. So that's what we need out in the streets with us. we know they matter.
I always say Black Lives Matter, period. If you want to follow that up with a conjunction, you don't understand what the words mean.
Exactly.
So there are no ifs, ands, buts. So, however, none of that. If you have to follow it up with something, read it again. You missed it the first time.
You did.
Yeah. And if you want to know more about accomplices, check out our interview with Bethany because she talked about that as well.
Oh yeah, that's where I got that. I'm like, where did that word get put in my brain from? It noodled in. She incepted me.
Yes. She dropped a lot of knowledge in that discussion.
She did.
So
I felt so smart saying that just now. Dang it. Okay, I learned it from somebody else. Thank you. Shout out to Bethany.
Shout out to Bethany. Gotta give her props.
We do definitely, but I was like, that was like a moment of genius. Oh, it wasn't mine, but it's true. It really is true. We need people who are willing to get in between. And please take care of yourselves out there, you guys. If you do take to the wear goggles, wear helmets,
record all of it. Like I know
all of it.
A lot of people are like, "Oh, you shouldn't be recording. You should be doing." But it's just like by recording it, you're making people aware, and awareness is like 90% of the battle. Not even gonna lie, because so many people willingly shut their eyes and close their ears to what's happening. So I will say that one good thing coming from all this is that people can no longer pretend to not know. Like, you know now whether you're on the left or which side of the fence you're on after you know that that's a completely different conversation. But it's not for a lack of knowledge. It's not because of ignorance at this point, you know. So I will say at least that has come from this because you can't anymore. Like, the time for turning heads and closing eyes and covering ears is done. You know?
Done. We can't anymore.
But that being said, we are coming up on an hour, and I do want to mention to you guys while you're here that if you are here now or in the future, whatever timeline you are watching this in,
dimension,
whatever one thing that you can always do is to support Black creators. Obviously we are authors, so we write books. We would love your support with that. But also there are books by, like I said, Bethany Moore. Her book came out today. There's Christina Forrest. She has not a song below water. She's got Now That I Found You, and she's got I Want to Be Where You Are. You've got Penelope, the Earthsinger Chronicles. She's also got the Cupid's Guild, which is available on Kindle Unlimited if you're interested. If you're not into
Yadasa
Williams, or did I say Yoda? We talked to her recently.
Yoda Will. Yep.
The Goddess Twins. There's also Antoine Bandele. Is that how you say his name?
I believe so. Sorry for saying that.
Sorry for saying that
but,
wrong. But he has several books out.
He already has, yeah. And he's on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
YouTube as well, doing talking about Black history and mythology not taught. So that'd be a great person as well.
And even if you can't purchase the book, boosting it so that other people can find it, because like I said, half the battle, especially as an indie author or self-published or whatever you want to call it, non-traditionally published author, getting your book out there and in front of the people who would be interested, in front of the people who would want to pick it up, in front of the people who would want to read it and love it, is a major part of the battle. Because I'm not going to go into the details of it, but getting the book out, writing it is the easy part. And for those of you who are actually writers, y'all know that that's probably a laughable statement. Okay? Yeah. Writing it is the easy part. Getting people to read it is the hardest thing. And a lot of that is due to exposure. Someone can't read your book if they don't know about it.
Exactly. So it's important for all of us to support each other and uplift.
Absolutely.
How these things.
And if you're a writer and you're looking for a community, we have one with the Written in Melanin Discord. So shout out to the Naked Firefly and Shay, because they're also parts of our little community, the Written in Melanin Network. And, it helps. And it's lovely.
It does help.
And y'all, I have so many thoughts and opinions and emotions, and I'm trying to be so calm about it and not rant. But
yeah.
All
that we ask is that you guys. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Chelsea. Go ahead. Okay. No. Sorry. I was going to say we ask that you guys take care of yourselves, hydrate, moisturize, rest, read, be fortified, because we have a long road ahead. Together it's what we do. We do best.
There you have it, folks. Oh, and I guess I would also be remiss in saying that if you guys want to support Written in Melanin, because this is a little self-promo, so if this is not your thing, that's cool, I understand, but Written in Melanin is to support Black authors, Black creators. That's what we've been about before this. That's what we're about now. That's what we will always be about. And one of the ways we do that is by promoting books by Black authors. I'm a publisher, so LaKase is the first book coming out. Her book, Across the Broken Tide, will be coming out next year around fall, winter time. There will be an official announcement on the channel later, so keep an eye out for that. And also just making it available and helping other Black creators, because like I said, we have the Melanin Network, where the goal is to support writers and give them a safe community where they can connect with other people who have the same goals, same struggles, same, we're going to get there together. We're really trying to build a community where everybody feels welcome and everybody feels like they are supported in whatever way they need to. And that's the goal of Written in Melanin as a whole. So if you guys want to support that, please check out the Patreon. We have different tiers, $3, $5, and $10. $3 gets you access to everything behind the scenes. And it helps. Helps make sure that, our book launches are successful, that we can continue to support other Black authors who are not with Written in Melanin, make sure that, we can do the things that need to be done so that, like I said, everyone can be supported and we can continue to do this and for the long term and not just, on the short term basis, we tried. So if that's your thing, it's $3 a month. That's not even a large fry from McDonald's, because that's $3 and some change. Just throwing it out there.
Fry.
So
sorry, always hungry.
But that's that. There's a link in the description box if you do want to support. And like I said at the beginning of this, if you want to support the bailouts, there's a link to that. If you want to sign, looking for petitions and things to sign so that you don't have to do anything monetary, there is a link to that as well. If there's a link to blacklivesmatter.com, which is documentaries and updating information about everything that's going on. So that's a good resource as well. And you can also follow us on Twitter. We're retweeting and putting out information as we have it. So yeah, support. Shay and Benjamin said it best. If you like this stream, please, you guys, tap the like button. We support. We love the support of you guys. Thank you guys so much for showing up for us. You know, Shay, Ben, the Naked Firefly, Evie, Mama Perry, all of you guys. Like, y'all are the goats. We do this because y'all show up with us every week, and we love you for it.
We really appreciate it. Yeah.
One of the benefits of Patreon, you have the after chat. That's a new thing that we're starting. It's the chat after the chat. So after we get off here in about 5 minutes, we're going to head over to the after chat, which is Patreon only, where we just hang out a little more candid. You guys can talk to us, etc., etc. Yeah. The Naked Fire said food is life, and I agree. And if you sign up for the Patreon, you're helping to feed us and keep us caffeinated so that we can do this.
Yeah. That's very true. Yep.
But if you have nothing else, LaKase, I'm going to close this out.
Yeah, go for it, Mama.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this Melanin Chat, for hanging out with us, for talking to us. You guys are so appreciated. And if you would be so kind, please hit the like button, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications, head over to LaKase's channel to do the same. And if you guys enjoy supporting Black authors, like I said before, check out the Patreon. And if you're watching this in the future, drop your comments down below. Who knows? We're probably living through a history textbook right now. So, let us know your thoughts.
Probably. Sorry.
your thoughts, your opinions. Talk to us. And if you have nothing to say and you just love us, drop a heart because we love you too. And that is it, you guys. I'm not going to keep rambling. If you're interested, the after chat is going to happen in about 10-ish minutes. So sign up for Patreon, join us over there. And until next time, you guys, we hope your days are lovely and your books are interesting. Bye.